So today we're going to verify some trig identities. Okay, so basically what happens is one side is all like a whole bunch of stuff, and we just have to get it to equal one simple thing. So in this one right here, we've got secant and 1 minus sine squared theta equals cosine theta. Okay, so I have to get the left side to equal to the right. Do you see how the right is the simplest? So I'm going to start on the left. You start with the most difficult. And I think about some things that I know. I'm like, secant theta. What does secant equal? It is 1 over cosine theta. And then this 1 minus sine squared theta. So I look back to here and I'm like, ooh, sine squared theta plus cosine squared. Oh, do you remember we kind of talked through this on the last video, that means that cosine squared theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta. So when you ever see a sine squared or a cosine squared, you're like, Pythagorean identity. So right here, this 1 minus sine theta is the same as cosine squared theta. Okay, now let's take this into algebra. If I had 1 over c times c squared, could I simplify some stuff? I could. This cosine and the squared, so like this squared, I could write c times c, and then 1 cancels, so I'm left with a cosine on top. And then you have to write out your cosine equals cosine. So we just have to take like the super gobbledygooky side and make it into the simple side. So fun. Okay. Ooh. All right, we've got tangent squared theta over secant squared theta equals sine theta. So now I want to think about some things. So is it going to help like tangent squared? I have this Pythagorean identity, so tangent squared would equal secant squared minus 1, but is that helpful? It's not. So you have to look at the context and decide, okay, for this situation, what do I want to do? So let's see, tangent. What else do I know about tangent if I want to get to sine squareds? I know, tangent, res over run, y over x. Okay, so tangent squared is the same as, so this is sine squared theta over cosine squared theta. Yeah? And secant squared. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So 1 over cosine squared theta. Do you see something that simplifies? I do. See how the cosines are on both on the bottom? Or basically what happens is you end up, like if you multiply, the outsides multiply and the insides. So this like reflects up. So that would be like cosine squared theta over 1. So do you see how the cosines cancel? So you get sine squared over 1. That's what I wanted. So my canceled, you could cancel either here and here or here and here. Like if you see it originally, cancel it. All right, so I get sine squared theta equals sine squared theta. Verifying the identity. So fun.